All right, what's up, everybody? Live Market Movers, welcome back. Took a few days off on the weekend. I know Justin was at the New York Knicks playoff game. I don't want to make that sting too much by publicly talking about it, but how you doing, Justin? You're on mute, bud.
Thank you. I'm doing good. I actually did not go to the game last night. I went to the Nets game. I didn't make it to the Knicks game. I'll probably be going to Knicks game 5, my guess. But I was still basically, there and getting my team beaten because Julius Randle couldn't show up in the playoffs. It doesn't surprise me. But I think they warm up. I think the future is bright for the Knicks. I really loved how Obi and quickly looked last night. D-Rose looks like his old self a little bit. So I think if we get a better performance out of RJ and Julius Randle, that we could probably take this series. So big game 2 coming up. Excited to be here. Excited for another great week of Market Movers. I had a great betting weekend, so I can't really be too mad. I unfortunately do have I do have a Knicks series bet, so I think they do come back. But let's talk a little bit about what we've been seeing in baseball. We've been away for a couple days. We've got an interesting day today. We have our first game kicking off. In a half an hour. So I guess we could talk about that. But anything of note that you noticed this weekend?
Not a lot that I noticed other than even yesterday, a run in the first inning when you're finding a lot with plus money has not been a bad bet. Once again, really since we've talked about it, it's been fine. Other than that, not a lot. I didn't pay attention to a whole lot because I was traveling. I typically don't watch baseball games that much, to be honest with you. It's mostly just math. So really not much to be gained from watching a baseball game, in my opinion, but that is, of course, just my opinion. So, didn't follow too closely this weekend at all.
Yep. I mean, I can't say I really did either with basketball being on all day and there even being some fun golf going around. I think everyone's attention was a little bit away from baseball, as tends to be when, things get busy. Baseball usually suffers. I mean, we just heard Don Mattingly talk about how the game's getting a little boring, and I think anyone can admit that has its faults. But we're seeing some great pitching still. We've seen some low-scoring games. We've seen some crazy scoring games. I mean, I have people texting me about, did you see how many runs the Giants and the Braves have been putting up? And there's been 17, 18-run games. Washington scored 12 on Saturday. So the ball's starting to fly a little bit. The over has been doing well for people who have been taking it. Going right into our first game, the Tampa Bay game, that starts in about half an hour. Tampa Bay Rays versus the Blue Jays. We just actually saw a little bit of movement. We saw not a full run, but full half run move of 10.5 to 11 on the over for this game. And we have the Tampa Bay Rays going for their 11th straight win today. So any thoughts on this one, Mike? What are you seeing?
The only real thought that I had initially was that I think the Blue Jays are the sharp side in this game. I didn't end up playing it, but I do think that they're the sharp side. It's close to a model lean. It would be 1/10 of a unit, maybe 2/10 of a unit at best. Absolutely quarter unit at the most for me, but definitely the sharp side in this one. It's kind of evident by the market data. They really haven't moved despite taking 57% of the bets, and I'm showing over 75% of the money on Tampa Bay. That's typically not a great sign when it's 50 to 60% of the bets, over 75% of the money, and you see absolutely zero movement whatsoever. I think that the market is right around where the model is. I see why a lot of people are wanting to bet the Rays here, but seeing the total go up, extreme hitting environment. I might sprinkle the Blue Jays money line just because I have that tiny lean in the model. But other than that, I'm definitely not playing anything here. How about you?
Nothing really officially coming out. I did grab the Toronto, the over like early this morning at like 6:30 a.m. So I was at 10.5, and I just knew the market was going to move on it. It was just kind of obvious this one was going to hit 11. These teams have been mashing. Tampa Bay is on fire, and if Toronto wants to keep up, they're probably going to have to score. Like, I don't see this one being like a 2-0 game. I mean, I might be sitting here eating my words tomorrow, but there's just I feel like when I say that, I mean, like, the probability feels low enough where, like, I can chop that bottom end off of like the expected outcomes and see that there's value in the over, right? Like, I don't see this being like a 3-run, 4-run ordeal. So, if the under is going to hit, it's going to be because it's at like 7 or 8. So we'll see. It just needs to be a big rally, but nothing too big for me coming out of that game. I probably think it's just a fun game to actually watch. To see if Tampa Bay can do this. So,
Last note on it I'll make is we've seen this ballpark a lot recently, and most of the games, even the ones we've been playing and hitting overs at, those were games where the wind was actually blowing in at 18 to 20 miles per hour. Today it's blowing out at 5 all the way up to 7 to 10 late in the game. But over in terms of a wind impact, a massive wind impact from baseline, despite someone looking at the weather information on the game and seeing 4 miles per hour blowing out, thinking that it's not significant in any way. Just want to point out that if you have followed there, it has typically been, like I said, 15 to 20 blowing in for these games.
Yeah. And again, I'll just like leave it with that. This is like if you were going on trends, like the Rays have gone over 8 of 10. They're a lot better away from their home field, which we talk about all the time, which is a really great pitching environment. So when they get out of there, that you see them hitting the over, I think it's like 17-6 on the season. So, it looks like it's lining up to be a nice play. But again, I wouldn't take it at 11. I guess you could, but I don't love it. But yeah. All right. Next game on the slate, I have Miami is playing host to Philadelphia. We're seeing our highly talked about Trevor Rogers on the mound. Any feelings on this one? I know this is kind of like a pass for me, maybe a lean on the under.
Pass for me. The Marlins are definitely the chalk in this spot, as everyone is racing to back Trevor Rogers at this point. Kind of shocked that, especially with Real Muto, pretty good bat in there against left-handed pitching, not in the lineup for the Phillies, that we haven't seen the Marlins move to at least the minus 130 range in this one. I think it could be an underplay if Eflin can find his stuff, but if I had to keep betting on it, I would be more than willing to bet on a little regression for Trevor Rogers. It's starting to get to a sample size that is good and believable, but if I had to bet on it, I wanted to make a play on this game, I would continue to bet against Trevor Rogers personally, but that's just me. I don't think some of the stuff is sustainable. Could be very, very wrong on it. He could be one of the next top 5 pitchers in Major League Baseball, but I'm willing to take that risk at these kind of prices for sure.
Yep, I don't disagree. I think some of the numbers we're seeing out of the Miami bats also seem a little unsustainable. They have one of like the worst walk rates, one of the worst strikeout rates. So to me, that probably indicates like a high batting average on balls in play. You probably are getting, good situational hitting that just, means their guys are probably seeing the ball well, not getting, troubled too much by like a big climate shifts, which we've seen. But again, I'm not really the type of person who wants to just be betting on this Marlins offense because I feel like the wheels could fall off at any minute with this team. So it's a stay away. And sharing a little tidbit of betting not like information, but like in betting adage is that like one of the biggest betting decisions is not playing a game, right? Like it is arguably the most important decision that you can make as a bettor, saying, you know what, no, I'm not going to bet on this. So it's always, there's nothing wrong with passing on a game. I mean, if you get it right and you're sitting there kicking yourself after, it just means you can trust your analysis in a similar situation next time. And that's still good data. So, passing because you don't have the confidence is a good choice 95% of the time.
Most definitely. Next one, we have a pretty clear sharp side. and some pretty meaningful movement. A little bit of steam towards the Detroit Tigers. Opened minus 115 range, sitting minus 125. Wouldn't shock me if it hits minus 130 for the Tigers here against the Indians. Turnbull on the mound against a lefty. They've sucked against left-handed pitching, so that part is maybe the one interesting piece. Do you have any thoughts on this one? Do you have a play on it? What do you think?
This one's kind of tough. It's hard to back either of these teams right now if you sort of just look at it like with a classic eye, just like somebody who watches some baseball and maybe knows a little bit about baseball. Neither team feel like they're doing great right now. And even if you do think the Tigers are doing better, it feels like they could probably fall off at any moment. They just dropped 2 of 3 to the Twins, to the Royals, and the Indians just dropped 2 of 3 to the Twins. So, this is another one of those AL Central battles where it could sort of go either way. The only bet I would take is that there won't be a sweep in this series. You will probably see a 2-1 result. So I'm not really playing it. The odds, I think, are really on point here. The Indians' bats have been missing the ball a lot. Detroit, again, is off and on. So I'm leaving it alone for here as well.
Yeah, I think that the market movement is really all because of Turnbull's no-hitter, right? He threw that no-hitter. I think that he's, obviously got a little bit of more name value now simply because of that. Pitcher for the Indians has struggled quite a bit. However, the Tigers, like I said, have been awful against left-handed pitching. So it makes sense to me. I don't love this game from any standpoint. I like a few of the Cleveland Indians, most specifically Jose Ramirez. I like him in daily fantasy today. I think this is still a decent matchup for him where someone might stay away. But as far as betting on the game goes, if you want to chase the steam and you like Turnbull, I think he's going to continue doing that. I don't hate it knowing that, 52% of the bets are still coming in on the Cleveland Indians and it's moved. It is a sharp side in the market. You're not getting carried away, but I certainly don't have any value on it.
Yep, I agree. I wouldn't. I'm just sort of watching this one play out. Next game I do have a play on. That's going to be the Colorado Rockies visiting the Mets. And anybody who sort of watches anything I say probably knows that I'm all over fading the Rockies. They've won 2 games away from home all year. It's at the point now where you're just like, all right, what's going to happen? We're going to lose a little bit of our house money on something where, we've been winning and there's no sign of it stopping. It's a couple different factors, right? It's not only that the travel is horrendous and they've been leaving and coming so often, like they haven't had a 3-series homestand, which does sometimes happen. And again, they're coming from Colorado where they played last night to go to New York tonight. That's not an easy climate shift. They have a terrible VMI. I think it's negative 21 today. I'm not going to back down just because, they've covered like 3 of their run lines. But even then, that's like 3 and 14 or something on losing games. They don't cover the run line. So I'm taking both the run line and I have half a unit on the money line too. Look, if you want the safe play, I take the money line. I don't mind laying the minus 140 on a team that really hasn't shown the ability to win away from their home park. I think that's a big deal in baseball. You hear a lot of top analysts talk about that, not only as analytically, but also like mentally for a club. So I think there's good value on the Mets tonight. And yeah, leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it's totally fine to continue to fade them. I have, I make the game minus 143, so I think it's pretty close. But again, it's not a negative play by any means. So if it's something where you have a trend and want to ride with that trend, I have absolutely no issues with it. My question and my only pause for concern would be how weak the Mets offensive lineup is now. But other than that, I am right there with you. I haven't played it yet personally, but totally see the play and do like that plus 150 or better on the run line. Yeah.
It's not even really about only the hitting. It just becomes a point where when you have pitchers potentially throwing as inaccurately as the climate shift might make them, right? Like they might not be able to place the ball as nearly well as they want to open the game. Like I would imagine if this is going to go the Mets' way, that they have put up runs before they get through the order twice. Like they're not going to be I do think the Rockies bullpen stinks, and that's another angle on this play for me. But they're gonna pounce on Gopper early. I don't really know if David Peterson's gonna be great against the Rockies. You could probably see an over hit here today. I think it's at 8.5. Oh, it's at 6.5. So they're predicting nothing. My guess is that's probably mostly on the Mets. You're probably seeing like a 3.5 and a 2 line or something, or no, 4 and a 2.5. But yeah, nope. Looks like good value on the Mets. Excited to watch that one. Hopefully get a nice winner to open the week.
Yep. Let's go to the next one. There's a lot of movement here. Very clear side that everyone wants to back. That's the San Diego Padres on the road with Blake Snell pitching as underdogs against Brandon Woodruff and the Milwaukee Brewers. I think everyone saw Padres with Snell on the mound, underdogs. Let me take that bet. That's what a lot of people have seen. That's what we've seen in the market so far. This one, they opened plus 125. They're now plus 110, plus 112. Brewers minus 135 down to minus 115. Good 20 cents. Showing 70 to 80% of the bets and money on the Padres here. I did not have a play on this one. Did you?
I did. I'm on that train. I'm just not. I'm not there because of Snell. We talked about this last time he went up and pitched. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't necessarily, and he actually proved me wrong, right? I think he threw 5 innings for 1 run in that last start. But again, that's not as serviceable as the Padres would like. Let's not, get it twisted. That's not like premium. That's pretty dang good, but 4 innings on your bullpen isn't exactly what a team wants. So, where I'm going with this is just the Padres are winning. The Padres are a hard to beat team. They have an edge in the bullpen. They have an edge batting. I don't love the Milwaukee Brewers bats. I know they just got Christian Yelich back, but they have been struggling to produce runs. They're not a team that consistently goes over 4 or 5 runs. And, for them to win, they really do need a strong pitching performance. So while the name that Woodruff has is definitely commanding the respect enough to, see some favoritism in the market, I think that there's just a good shot that the Padres do continue to win. They've won 12 of 13, and they have really good players. So I don't hate like a Milwaukee Brewers first 5, but I think the Padres come around late and find a way to win this one.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Obviously, I would have preferred to get it when it opened if I was going to play that side, but my concern, Manny Machado being out of the lineup it's a piece of noteworthy news for the Padres, and then just the overall shift for Blake Snell. Snell is someone who's used to pitching in good pitching environments, is a much better hitting environment than he's frankly used to a little bit here. So that's my only cause for concern. But I think that, as crazy as it sounds, a contrarian overplay may not be something that I hate. Snell and Woodruff, while they both have strikeout upside, Woodruff more so than Snell now at this point. I think they are both extremely fragile. I think that they could both give up that 4 to 5 run inning very, very easily in this spot. So for me personally, I think that a contrarian overplay would be something that I'd be interested in while the game is at 7 currently.
Yep. I'm right there with you. I think, if something goes wrong for either team, the over cashes. Like, you're not going to see a game where there's like minor errors and something. If one of these pitchers is off, like, the other team could pull this over on their own. So I don't hate the play at all. I definitely wouldn't be playing the under here, even with those names on the mound. I think that's a little bit of a trap. So, all right. Next game up is Baltimore is going to the Minnesota Twins, and we have John Means on the mound. What are you thinking over here?
We have John Means on the mound. That typically could be a good thing. However, I think this Twins team is incredibly good against left-handed pitching. better than, I don't even know where they're at after the weekend, but they were a top 10 offense the other day when we had them in that matchup with the number 1 offense against left-handed pitching, the White Sox. Nelson Cruz, Jorge Polanco, both questionable. I am pretty confident that, I shouldn't say pretty confident, I'm leaning towards the way of them both playing. Mitch Garver's back. I think they're going to have 8 of 9 right-handed hitters out there for John Means. I think it's an interesting spot to pick. You have to pick your spots when you want to fade them here. But this Twins team against left-handed pitching, and obviously the real wild card is Shoemaker, is just downright awful, frankly. That's why you're getting this as an even money play. But taking this Twins team against a left-handed pitcher, as long as Cruz is in that lineup, I wouldn't fault you at all for it. So that's kind of where I am at on it. I haven't made a play on it yet, but if I did, I would have a slight play on the Twins as I make them minus 114. They are currently minus 105 in the market.
Yeah, I'm not against it. You know, Shoemaker is really just that bad. It scares the hell out of me. He's like, you know, but if there were 20 pitchers available randomly from the league, you're probably picking him last. Like, he's just that bad. It's hard to find pitchers who have struck out less people at like a worse clip than him. And have also, like, I think his expected slugging percentage is in the bottom 6% of the league this year. So like expected slugging is 0.555. Like, that's just ridiculous. It's the worst mark of his career, and he has been trending towards this his entire life. It's just been routinely getting worse. So it's not like fake. He's really bad. So you know, you're definitely taking a risk going against him. I think I'd be really interested to see what the F5 lines are here, because I feel like they're probably, you could see some difference, and you might be able to get Baltimore on the F5 because you're not really playing those bullpens. I don't have a play on this one. I don't hate the over. Again, Schumacher could gift it to you himself, and especially with that Twins offense. So, oh wait, am I? Hold on, let me make sure I'm not being ridiculous here. And I think I might have taken this. Hold on, I'm totally ahead of myself. But yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I'd like to just point out the Baltimore Orioles are the worst team in Major League Baseball against right-handed pitching. If there is a spot for Shoemaker to kind of get right in any way, I would project it to be this. So the combination of getting their worst pitcher facing the worst offense in Major League Baseball against right-handed pitching. Against the lefty, I am very close to having a play on the Twins. I'm hoping we get some sort of steam movement on Baltimore with people buying. I would be interested in seeing that there, but where I'm at currently, I think it's too inflated. I would like to also point out that while Means has been great, I don't think anyone in the world believes the 214 weighted on base average allowed is sustainable in any way. The expected number is up to 284. Perhaps the most concerning part about that 214 that lets you know that it's fraudulent is the fact that the slugging percentage, expected slugging on that, is still at 400. You know, the good pitchers that are having a 260 weighted on base average, which is still 50 points worse than him, are going to have an expected slugging around 300. It's around 100 points worse. So I'm telling you, John Means is going to get lit up at some point very soon. I personally think it could be today. So at that price, we're literally losing a unit essentially if you lose this game on the Twins. I have a ton of interest in backing that one personally. So.
And I actually I did play this on Sports this morning. It was a little bit of a hectic morning for me, but I do have the over here. I took it at 9. I actually was under the impression that it might go up towards 9.5 based on just, you know, again, the Twins bats and Baltimore's ability to potentially, you know, anyone might be able to hit Schumacher. So I was just not going to be shy about it. And I went and I took that this morning. So, and both teams have been hitting the ball pretty well. Twins bats have definitely come alive recently. So this is a team that can carry you to a over by itself on a good day. So I'm not really going to stay away from them. I think both teams have hit the over in 9 of the last 10. So some hot bats. But all right, next game we're seeing today. What do we have up?
White Sox, Cardinals and White Sox.
Yep.
Massive market movement on this one as well. Cardinals open plus 136. They're now plus 162. White Sox have gone from minus 150 to minus 175. At least 20 cents, 25-ish in most places in the market on the White Sox. Makes a lot of sense. I played this game on the run line. Love them against left-handed pitching. A rare moment where I'm probably going to end up with 20 cents of movement on a run line play as well, which is a little crazy. But I played at minus 1.5 plus 120 this morning. It is currently minus 1.5 plus 105 at William Hill. I have not checked the other shops, but I assume it's the same, if not flipped to minus 105 on some of the other books that tend to juice it a little more. So that's where I'm at on it. Pretty. If you watch the early edge, you got the full version. But curious to hear your thoughts on this one.
I grabbed this last night when the lines open. This was an auto play. I think everyone is sort of waiting for it, and anyone who's normal to the betting markets in the MLB should understand that the entire betting community is kind of like, oh man, White Sox against lefties. Like, if we're talking about it and you've heard it, everyone's probably heard it. So what that just means is you're getting a good price, right? And I like the play. There's a reason everyone likes the play, and they lost last time against the lefty for only the second time on the year. So I grabbed it this morning. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to play it like officially at the price that I got it, so I didn't really want to bother with it. But yeah, I love it. Lance Lynn's been effective all year. Hard to go the other way. I don't really know much about the pitcher for the Cardinals. It looks like he has a nice ERA, but I'm not really gonna doubt the money line for sure, especially taking it at I got it like minus 150 last night, and it's moved 30 cents. Like, obviously I'm very pleased with my bet. So
actually 40. If you go to FanDuel right now, they're hanging minus 190 on them. If it gets any further, like if the Cards for some reason get up to plus 170, there's a decent chance I'm playing both sides, and I'll be holding. Obviously I could still lose both bets if the White Sox win by one, but there's a good chance that I'll have some sort of play on the Cardinals if they hit plus 170. As that's getting a little out of hand there, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's just at the end of the day, then you're either going to break even or win, right? So when you get that type of value, you can't that for the casual bettor who might be sitting there being like, wait, what the hell? You're going to play the other side on a game that you got like such good value at? Well, yeah, because if the White Sox win, he's already, winning his unit, and he's taking plus money on the losing team. So he would be at worst even if the White Sox win. And then
they'd have to win by 2. So this bet would be, there is a loss condition.
There's a middle. There's a middle. Okay. Yeah. So let's say I was assuming he's money line. I was mistaken. So no, if on the run line, it does have that one scenario where if the White Sox win by a single run, he's in some trouble. But having plus money on both ends of that not happening is it puts him sitting pretty, which is nice. So
last comment on that, the pitcher for St. Louis, I talked about it on the early edge, but I'll mention it again. As you know, I love the expected data, and I like to essentially bet on when we're going to see that normalize. I think this is the spot. 290 actual, pretty damn good. 337 below average. 337 is the expected number. 460 on the expected slugging. Now you're putting him against a designated hitter, a decent, St. Louis can play like a hitter's park at times, but it's not the same as playing on the road in a hitter's park like he's going to in Chicago. Now faces designated hitter, Jose Abreu back in the lineup as well. So I think that if they're like John Means, frankly, I'm calling his regression today. I think that Kim, I think we see that normalized a little bit here. And that's why this game probably appears like it was so mispriced in the market.
Yep, I agree. Cool. It's going to be a good one to watch, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. This is an interesting interleague matchup here. So we'll definitely get to see an interesting battle. And again, the interleague matchup does give the White Sox an advantage traditionally because the Cardinals have to trot out a bench player for their DH. So never a bad thing to have that on your side. And all right, we have one final game today. We have Seattle-Oakland. We have Oakland hosting Seattle, who might be the worst team in baseball at the moment. I think if I had to choose, I would definitely put Seattle with the run that they're on. They're not winning. I see it really hard to bet against them. I grabbed this line also really early. Mariners are 3-7 in the last 10. So, I'm not really afraid of them. I don't necessarily think that they have a great shot here today. Athletics are just a good team. So I'd be interested to hear what you have on this one.
A lot of line movement. I almost ended up with a run line play on the Oakland A's. FanDuel's hanging some goofy lines today. Okay, I got to touch back on the White Sox real quick.
All right.
I just told you it was minus 190 there. It is now minus 210. It has moved another 20 cents in the last 3 minutes that we have talked about the game there. The Oakland A's are up to minus 172 on FanDuel. That game opened minus 150. It's still only minus 157 on William Hill. The funny thing about that and why you have to shop around on price, despite FanDuel hanging minus 172, they have a better run line price on the A's than William Hill does, who's hanging minus 157 on the money line.
That just goes to show you why it's important to just use a website that aggregates lines so that you can see everything at once and know that there are other sites. So, I mean, I know that when I get the opportunity to do that, I'm going to be saving money here and there. But no, I think that is what you said. The minus 1.5 on Oakland is how I played it this morning. I do think I have it I did think I got it at plus 125, which isn't too bad. So we'll see how it goes. I can't see the Mariners winning. And that's exactly when they will. That's exactly when they will, right?
Sure.
But I do understand that there's a slim chance. I'm not saying this is a lock and you can't miss on this, but just basically in how their offense has been performing and what you can expect the Oakland A's to be able to produce. It would be a bad game for the A's to lose on a Monday, opening a series against one of the colder teams in baseball. And, the Athletics need these wins to compete in the West. They just do. Yeah. So it'll be an interesting one today. But, yep, that's a pretty short slate.
Very short slate. I want to point out, just because we get new people watching all the time, when Justin says it's obviously not a lock, we like them to win in this game. We think that maybe the new market price of minus 172 is approaching an efficient number. If we think that number is efficient, that means we're still expecting Seattle to win 37% of the time. Just want to hammer that home that while it feels like a great spot, it is a great lock. That is him telling you that he still thinks the Seattle Mariners are going to win 37% of the time.
And again, just to anyone who, sports betting is one of the fastest growing things in sports right now. So, again, to remind people when you're evaluating handicappers, we aim for 55% of being correct on our bets. And that is a very, very profitable long-term rate if you can legitimately anchor that down and be consistent. And, you don't need, if you bet your rates properly and bet your models properly, you can do very well at not even the biggest margins. So, everything is odds and math and statistics when you take it from a long view. And so that's what we try to do here. We try to keep our perspective down the road, play it to get edges in certain places, and win over time. So, all right, any questions in the chat before we get out of here? I know we'll probably do a parlay. I've been hitting them left and right. But
donkey of the day parlay. I'd like to see a donkey of the day parlay.
I think the Boston Red Sox rooted for us yesterday. I gave one away on Twitter because we didn't have the show. And the Red Sox plus 1.5 did us in. So we got 3 legs on that one. It's tougher when you have 8 games. I think you have to throw in Oakland on the money line. You definitely want to throw in the White Sox on the money line. But after that, I think it gets tough. Any contributions, Mike?
I think the Mets probably would be your third team, minus 140.
Yeah.
That one's going to pay plus 339.
Yeah. I think you got to leave it there. Honestly, I think it's pretty hard to go past that. I guess if you really wanted to push me, you could probably go get the San Diego Padres plus 1.5 and throw it in there, because that's minus 220. and you could take a little bit more money on that. But I don't see the Padres losing a 1-run game, so I don't love that. I see them, if they're going to lose, they're going to lose. They're going to have problems and get outscored. But all right, favorite bet today. That's hard. I don't really have favorites. I have bets that I'm confident in. I guess Mike has a better look for that because he only has like one play today. So I'll let Mike answer that one.
Yep. So for me, it'll obviously be the White Sox on the run line. Obviously liked it a lot more when I played it at plus 120 as opposed to the plus 105 or even money that it's sitting at currently. Mm-hmm. For me, second play is probably going to be, if you want to like get some early action, I don't hate the over. I'll sprinkle a tiny bit on Toronto as it's just a tiny model edge. But I think I might end up with a play on the Twins. So that would be my second play of the day here.
Yep. Well, Toronto's already underway, so you need to play that one live.
Okay. And I just did. I guess the A's would be actually my second play. That was the closest one to a full play in the model. Should be at least a quarter unit on it right now if I'm just following discipline how I should in the model. So that's probably my second. The A's would be the second closest thing to a play. Yep.
I agree. Again, we just gave the donkey parlay out. I saw someone ask. We're going to do all the big favorites. We're going to go Mets, A's, White Sox, and then we're going to take the Padres on the run line, get a run and a half on the Padres at minus 215. And again, when we say this, we're not going to go out here. Mike probably isn't betting it. I'm only betting it because they've been winning for me, and I have so much house money from parlays that I think I'd be crazy to stop shooting when I'm hot. But the moment I feel like it's just for whatever reason not buzzing through, I think I'm 4-4 on the 8 parlays I've given out, which is legitimately stupid and should not be happening by any means. So I'm gonna put like 0.25, like a quarter of a unit on today. I don't go betting these being like, oh, your parlay is a sure thing. Like, don't be up in my Twitter mentions being like that. I will call you out. I will post clown emojis, and we will make fun of you. So.
I want to modify your donkey of the day parlay because there are so few games. If you want to really donkey it up, because I think it's plays that we all have between the three of us or the two of us, make it a 3-legged run line play. White Sox minus 1.5, A's minus 1.5, Mets minus 1.5. That 3-leg parlay pays back $10.53.
Yep.
So if you really want to donkey it up, your $100 bet on there, you're going to return $11.53. If you really want to donkey that shit up a little bit,
that makes me smile because I saw that this morning. I was looking at this morning and I was like, you know what? I'm throwing $10 on it because if I'll walk away with us having a great day and an extra $100 in my pocket, I'll just like buy myself a nice dinner, you know. But I have no expectation of that hitting. One of those picks is most likely going to be incorrect literally in 11 tries. We should get one of those or more wrong 10 times. That is what those odds are saying. So just to sort of break down what the odds mean, this parlay should only hit around 9% of the time. So with that, we'll leave you. Mike, I don't know if you have any closing words here today.
No, all I want to say is the last time we told you something had a 91+% chance of failing, it hit. And that's all I got for you today. Thanks for tuning in.